Alright, here's the kind of storytelling I can get behind. Movies!
Yeah, I'm excited for the stories this week.
Me too. But, uh, Juliette?
What?
Uh, is it just me, or is this movie you chose looking a little weird?
What do you mean?
Well, there's no color for one thing.
That's because the movies we're talking about today don't have any color.
Oh, okay. Well, turn up the volume. I can't hear what's going on.
These movies are silent, Ray. What?
Oh, nothing. It's just that when you told me you were picking the movie, I should have expected it wasn't gonna be Kung Fu Panda. So what's going on with these movies anyway? Why isn't there any color or sound?
To put it simply, it hadn't been invented yet. Silent films are very, very old, the first movies ever made. Back then, people would use film photography to take a rapid series of pictures, then put them into a machine that would make it look like one moving picture.
Is that why it looks so weird? Because it's old?
Right. Digital photos and videos that we use today are just files on your phone or camera, a digital code that looks the same forever. But real video or film can look a little worse as it ages. People do a lot of work to preserve old movies while they can.
So the color and sound faded away over time too?
No, color and sound movies just hadn't been invented yet. Color film for the pictures wasn't available for a while. If you wanted color, you'd have to paint each picture frame one, by hand.
Wow! Has anybody ever tried that?
They have, but it was a lot of work and still didn't look very good.
How about the sound? If it were me, I'd be recording the video on my camera and sound on my recorder and send them to the movie theaters and have them play them together. Did anybody ever try that?
Sometimes, but it was complicated and most people didn't bother. Sound didn't really become popular until a new way of recording the audio and the video at the same time was invented years later.
But why? It must be really tricky to tell a story with no words. People back then must have hated it.
Actually, silent movies were really popular. For one thing, the idea of a picture that could move on its own was a neat new concept for the time. People had never seen movies before. Plus, they were also affordable for everyone. Movies back then only cost about a nickel to see.
Wow! I could spend all day in the theater on my allowance.
More like all week. But one of the biggest reasons is because a lot of people from all around the world were moving to America at the time, and many of them didn't understand English. Silent movies could tell a story that everyone could understand.
I see.
It was even better if you could avoid using words at all. Then people who couldn't read could enjoy the stories too. They're for everyone.
And us.
Right.
So, what are some tips on watching movies without sound?
Well, first of all, keep in mind that these movies are older and look a little different. Sometimes it takes a little getting used to the way they look.
That's okay. I didn't think I liked it either at first, but I think I'm getting used to it already.
Oh, good. It can take a little practice, but you catch on quick. My second tip. Try not to rely on the word cards. See them here? Their purpose is to help the story along, not to tell the story. This type of story is told in the video, not the words. So if you keep on waiting for the next title card to explain what's going on instead of watching the story itself, you'll miss out.
Got it.
Finally, since we don't get to read or hear about what's going on, you'll have to watch closely and pay attention. We don't know what the characters are thinking, wanting, or feeling. We can only see what they're doing. We have to figure out what they think, want, or feel.
Well, it's not too hard to guess. The acting is a little over the top.
That's normal. Since these stories are told through pictures instead of words, they had to rely on their acting to communicate what was going on, often in a really big dramatic way. Again, it takes a little getting used to.
It's not too hard. You can tell a lot without words.
You can! And you can tell a lot of stories, like comedy, fantasy, horror. Oops. Maybe not that one.
Let's go back to the comedy, maybe.
Yeah, well, Charlie Chaplin is a good one. Here, he was really popular.
Probably because he spoke a universal language.
Huh? Ray, what do you mean? There's no talking in these movies.
I meant laughter.
Huh? I don't get it.
Shh.
Let's review. Practice watching silent films and getting used to their unique look. Watch the video itself closely and don't just rely on the title cards to tell the story. Pay attention to what the characters are doing and what is happening in the story.